Memorex, but who cares? So let me get the bullshit, the gear stuff out of the way first. What kind of bass do you play? What kind of amp are you on?
I like using a PV Black Eagle bass, about the mid-70s. It looks like a groovy, it looks like a P bass with really groovy accents to it. Squirrels and stuff, like squirrely, whirly.
Oh, your Ibanez.
Ibanez, and I use a Fender Pro Bass 400 with 4 15-inch speakers. And I don't buy amp it or anything, I just do it straight. It's way loud.
Yeah, it's way loud.
Okay. Any effects boxes?
Nothing. Well, sometimes I use an MXR, an old early 80s MXR.
Distortion. Yeah.
Distortion. Good old standby. Kurt's been swearing by Univox guitars. They're Mosrite copies. They're from the late 60s and early 70s. They have a killer pickup in them, and they have thin necks. And they're manufactured in Japan. Kind of.
They have real small hands?
No, not really. It's just a thin neck is more, you can slide with. And he's been using Sun Beta Leads, solid state head. Sun equipment from the late 70s is just dynamite. It's really durable and it's way loud. One of the main things about that stuff is that it's just way loud.
And he's got those 2 Soundtecs.
Yeah.
Those cabinets.
And he plays through Soundtech cabinets. One time, Kurt and I were in this, we were walking around the Evergreen State College campus looking for something, and we heard this band jamming, so we went to these dorm bungalows, and there's these guys were playing, and oh, you guys are Nirvana. We're like, yeah, we are. No. And anyway, this guy had all these Kramer guitars laying around, and he had this, it was a left-handed Fender Mustang from the late 60s, because Kurt's left-handed, And it was sanded down, so you couldn't see, it didn't say Fender or anything on it, but it was a Mustang. And hey guys, neat guitar. Oh, that thing, well, this guy's into Kramers and Charvels. He had all these top-of-the-line Charvels. Well, hey, you want to sell it? He goes, I don't know, $50. And we talked him from 50. We talked him down to $20. And then we ran to the bank machine and we ran back, and everybody was gone, but the window was open. So I thought, let's just rip it off. But no, we knocked on his door and we bought it for $20. And we had a couple frets. Well, we had a fret job done to it, and God, just beautiful guitar. So what did Kurt do? He went and he smashed it, like all his guitars.
Was that the one he did by accident though? Like when he first fell backwards on it when he was playing, and it cracked, and he said the heck with it?
He threw it, and it cracked, and then he finished it off.
Yeah, that's right.
I've had 2 basses this year, well 3 basses, one got stolen. I had a Gibson Victory bass, and I was playing on this junky Trace Elliott amp in England. It sounded like hell, and I was going to smash the amp, but I wound up smashing the bass. First time I ever played it. Then I had another Ibanez Black Eagle bass that I bought, exactly like my old trusty one, and I busted that one in half too.
That's because the neck was different,
Yeah. The neck was the same, but the wood was laminated.
Oh yeah.
And then Kurt, he smashed up about 3 or 4 Univoxes, smashed up a couple Fenders. What else has he gone down on?
He destroyed a Gibson. An old SG.
He destroyed Gibsons.
What's the guitar he got in Geneva?
Oh,
Switzerland?
a Washburn.
Yeah.
He's
totaled that too.
He totaled a Hagstrom.
What's the average life expectancy of a guitar in Nirvana?
Well,
2-3 shows maybe.
if it's a good show, at the end of the show it'll be gone.
Yeah.
But
Are you trying to set new records for the Who, like the Who
well,
did?
yeah, it is.
Right.
See, what we try to do this time around is like, okay, guys, you know, it's fun smashing stuff up, but it's getting kind of expensive. Well, Kurt gets this brainstorm, man, we'll make our own guitars, right? So what we did is we ordered 4 necks from Chandler guitars out of San Francisco, and they wound up being $130 a piece, okay?
Which is way more than you've been spending for some of the guitars, right?
Yeah, but you know, even that Hagstrom guitar was $150, and that's a good, and we got a deal on it. It should have been about $250. Anyway, and then we had the bodies cut out for us. We went and bought the wood, had the bodies cut out, and we routed it. And it wound up 4 guitars cost $1,000, and they're all going to bite the dust.
Yeah, we did all the routering and stuff and painted them last night and slapped the pickups in.
Yeah, we finished them.
So those are basically like your end of show guitars that you're just going to trash, or you need to play them all the way through?
Well, some will die, some might live. Who
Depends
knows?
if the audience deserves it.
That's where Kurt's at right now. He's finishing up some of the wiring and stuff on them.
You go through a bunch of drums too?
Well, I am playing different drums now. I had like this Norris set, you know? It's like the kind that sort of fan out they look like a tuba.
Oh, the guy the guy in Portland invented.
Yeah.
The guy from the Holy Modal Rounders or whatever?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. The drums he invented, yeah. Well, I had those drums like for a long time, just like for the first time, or the next show's gonna be the first time I'm playing this really old Ludwig set they found. It's a combination of a WDL Ludwigs and Leedy, which was actually the name before they changed to Ludwig. So they were like made in the 30s sometime.
Wow.
So they're like really old, but they're just solid as hell. They're just really put together. But the funny thing is, like this North that I had, it's just like had a rack, had like 4 toms on the top, right, and the floor tom and the bass drum. Well, as each shows went on, each tom just started disappearing because they
I
started
saw you play once and you had like one left.
Yeah,
man, that's
one left.
really trippy that he's got one of these things up
I got
there.
one left, and the bass drum
They all got
has been
busted.
split since like the summer. We had a show like in Maxwell's in New York. Or New Jersey actually was. Yeah, we're booked in New Jersey. Well, anyway, it totally like split in half the top of them. So it's been duct taped and it's put together, and I've been playing that bass drum for like, I don't know, like 10, 11 shows afterwards, and it still sounded okay. Matter of fact, it has there's a lug nut piece missing, so the head that's on it is wrinkled, and I recorded with it in the studios not too long ago, and it sounded great. But I don't use it now. But
We're getting really good at fixing stuff like guitars, mix and match and necks on the bodies. But it's a bitch for Kurt because he's left-handed, so things got to be different,
Handyman Masters.
Yeah, so we're getting really good at patching things up. Because you have to,
Well, you go through them, yeah. How do you keep your sound consistent going through all that shit? Do you really worry about it?
The amps, the pickups are pretty much the same. I mean, pickups usually survive a pretty good thrashing. So you just put them in another guitar.
Basically, you're toasting necks is a lot of what you're doing.
Yeah, the necks would happen. That's what goes out.
Occasionally a body will splinter
The body
up.
will splinter up.
And we'll just salvage what we can, tuning pegs, pickups, whatever. If the bridge pieces aren't all gone or missing or something, we'll probably reuse that. Which is probably what we'll end up doing for the 4 guitars that Kurt's going to be bringing with him, because we only have enough pickups and bridges and stuff for like 2 guitars to work. So when those are gone, we'll just do some like handyman work and switch them over to the
Well,
new
give you
ones.
something to do in between cities, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
also like we might not even smash any guitars in that tour because if we don't think they're very good shows, if people don't like it or anything, it just depends. A lot of times we'll just walk off stage, It's like, but if it's really smoking, things just through the whole set. It's like when you play, you're like holding everybody up in the air. It's really weird. It's hard to do, and at the end, it's just like, well, let's not do an encore.
Yeah, well, no one's
That's a guarantee not to do an encore, so you just total it down and.
Another thing is too is that the guitars that we've made, Kurt actually likes them a lot. I mean, as it turns out, the action's really great for him. It's like, they're really similar to like what he likes in playing guitars. Like when he plays his Uniboxes around, how he likes those. These are really close. So sort of having some second thoughts, but he knows some of them might not.
They're gonna bite it.
Yeah, they're gonna buy it. I
All we
know
have to
that. I
do-
should just say
and
it.
see-
They're dead. They're all dead.
The worst comes to worst, we'll be on the road, and we give Uncle John Poneman a call, and then he could send us some money, and we can get new guitars. 'Cause this is what happened in England too, or in Europe.
Do you have much? Do you like go scouting through junk stores and
Oh
stuff?
man, Tacoma, Washington, I know
Oh.
the best pawn shops because people are not onto them at all, and there are some deals,
See, I'm
man.
about ready to go buy a guitar for myself just to go fuck around and. So I have real short fingers. That's why I was asking you about the
Same
snacks.
here.
Get a Mustang because
Yeah.
they're for small hands.
That's what I'm using.
I have really long
You
fingers.
play too?
I play guitar, yeah.
And
So how did Nirvana come together?
well, just Kurt and I were really bored in the town of Aberdeen, Washington,
Yeah.
and he made a tape. His aunt is a country western performer, and she has like a little tiny studio in her house, and so Kurt made a tape of his songs, and then I heard the song Spank Through, and I just thought, well, this is really awesome. So I went over to Kurt, hey man, let's start a band. And he was living in a house, so we had a place to practice. So I went and I borrowed this really junky, borrowed like a Epiphone bass, and
Those big plastic things?
yeah, and a big and a bass amp that said PMS on it. It was a PMS bass amp. And then we started jamming on this junky drum set we threw together. And we got out of Aberdeen, went through a few drummers, met Chad, started playing in Seattle.
So you're not from Aberdeen?
No.
No.
Started playing Seattle, the ball started rolling. Made a record.
I think I saw like your third or fourth gig when you opened for the Big Trains.
Oh God! You were there?
I was
Far out.
there.
That was a long time ago.
Well, see, Courtney put the show together. She's our ad manager at the Rocket. She was sort of like, you gotta.
That was before Blood Circus. You were you were there.
Yeah.
You were like one of the 10 people there.
There were about 20 of us.
20, yeah.
Yeah. I was
Can you
like-
imagine? And now we couldn't even play the Central.
I was sort of amazed that Mudhoney even did that show.
That
It
is
struck me as
crazy.
being like way too much trouble to go to for the. This thing at the Showbox makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it does.
So then at least you can get in that room. We so badly need a place to play in town. And it's
The hub sucks. We're never going to play the University of Washington hub
Okay, see,
again
I tried-
because they ripped us off.
they ripped you off?
Yeah, first of all, we packed the place out, and dumb Jonathan Poneman gave us a $500 guarantee, and we never got it because they said that there's damage to the rug, and they have to appraise the damage. There's a rug in the back room that got damaged. So it's fine, and we packed the place out.
Oh,
It's bad enough.
I couldn't even get into that show.
Yeah,
Because I was trying to go to see you guys and see Tad again.
It sold out apparently, or something like
Well,
that.
it sold out. Hell, I was on the guest list. Sold out didn't matter, but this thing was supposed to go off at 8, and I show up at 8:30 or 9, and it's and I showed up again at 9:45. It was like pouring rain. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not gonna see these
It
guys.
was raining bad. It was raining bad.
And plus, it was gonna. There were all these people, and they were all wet. And it was gonna smell like shit, and it was gonna be crowded, and I was gonna get pissed off and hit somebody and break my hand. So I just left instead. It was way easier. Yeah. So you guys University never paid you?
No, the shysters. They have millions of bucks.
Yeah, we suggest
Lousy
no
fighters.
bands play at the hub.
It's a
Actually, those are supposed to be really good gigs to get because the universities always pay.
Huh.
And we didn't do any damage to the rug. Sure, we threw some chairs around and stuff, but how would the rug get damaged? And I wouldn't.
Well,
I got a big spiel when I meet the person.
I just
got a big
remember
spiel for him.
when I saw Soundgarden back in New York and in the fall, and Krist just started taking his mic stand to the wall at NYU.
Soundman, that's another thing we got to deal with is soundman, because if you like start trashing drum sets, the fucking mic stands and mics, they go crazy. And they get pretty pissed off. So what happened eventually is we had to buy microphones before because they're broken. So we've got our own collection of microphones.
Collection of broken mics.
But they work. See, they're just busted. You know, there's like chips out of them and stuff, and they get pissed off. So now we're gonna start using our own mics, so we don't have to be liable for it anymore. Like we got some really good ones. Like we got a Sennheiser mic from Austria that we bought in Leeds for fucking 200 pounds, something like that.
Man, that's not cheap.
That's mass bucks, man.
That's lots of. So you guys don't make a lot of money touring, in other words.
No, we sold 800 T-shirts at about $10 a crack in Europe, and we were making good guarantees. Shit, on our first 4 gigs in England, we were about 500 pounds in the hole from a guitar busted. Oh, and when I busted that Victory bass, it flew through this twin reverb cabinet, tore right through the speaker. And it was rented equipment too. Oops. So see? And then the microphone. And there's a bunch of other shit that we're telling. Oh, tuner got stolen, like the 3rd gig. It just adds up. See, people grab stuff. They think if you smash a guitar, they can just grab all the stuff. It's like, you know, you can use it again. You know, just because somebody cut a tree down. You know, somebody cut a tree down. So what the hell? Might as well finish it off. You know? I didn't cut the tree down.
So how's the record doing for you?
It's really good.
You happy with the way it sounds?
Yeah. It could have been a little more higher energy, I think. But yeah, it turned out really good. I like it. We're really psyched on our next record. We got a bunch of songs going.
When are you recording it?
In September. Well, no, it's going to be released in September. It's going to be recorded in April. We're going to go to Chicago. We're going to record with Butch Vig, who does Killdozer, and he did the Fluid. And so while we're over in Chicago, we're going to hang out back east for about a month. Knock out some cities back there.
Picture of you guys on the south side of Chicago wandering around, going through pawn shops, beating up on old blues guitars.
Yeah. Django Reinhardt. No, he died a long time ago. Yeah, European pawn shops are really bad. The instrument scene in Europe is really bad, man. Guitars are really expensive, and all the old cool stuff is just totally expensive.
I mean, like in England.
England's not bad.
Well, London, we went to one place that was really weird. They had like this old silver tone, didn't have any strings on it. It was a little beat up and stuff, and they wanted like, what, 700 pounds for it? And I go, why 700 pounds? They go, well, silver tones are really hard to come by, and they're considered collector's items. And
I know where I can get one for $150
I
right
already
now.
have a silver tone acoustic, and it's in perfect condition. I could probably get at least 900 pounds for it over in London. Just pocket the money, come back from America, and pick up about $1,000.
We went to this place in Hamburg, Germany. It was just reputed. Is that the right word? It was putrid. No, it was like not disputed, but reputed. What's the word?
Reputed?
I barely graduated high school.
Supposed to be?
Yeah, supposed to be. Supposed to be the best guitar shop in all the continent of Europe. So we're like,
In Germany?
Yeah, remember in Hamburg, that one place? That guy showed us his little DDR car.
Oh yeah.
This guy from East Germany came over.
Yeah.
Let us see the engine of your car. Came in one of those little cars.
All right.
They're like 2-cylinder engines. They're
2 cylinders?
And they're air cooled.
Yeah.
No wonder they blow so damn much smoke.
And they're. Do you know why they blow smoke? Because they're 2-stroke engines. You put oil and gas.
You gotta mix them?
Yeah. They're like chainsaw engines, man. Those little people drive those little cars.
That's why those people that came over like from East Germany, they have exactly 1 year to replace their car.
Yeah.
Those cars are bad. And then you go on the Autobahn, and those things are just hot, going really slow. And then there's this big Mercedes just going, just going, and the little car shakes. It's like this totally. Those things just go. You're going about 50 or 60, 70. Those things just go. Just go. what was that? And it was fucking Mercedes. It was crazy. You ever been over there?
No, I was in Portugal when I was about 10, but I haven't been back.
Anyway, we were in the greatest guitar shop in all continental Europe, and it was just awful. It sucked, man. Everything was expensive. What I like in a guitar shop is I like when there's like a lot of good old stuff, like guitars at a reasonable price.
Yeah, there's best place I think we ever been to was in LA, I think it was. What's the place that we went to? Remember that guitar shop? It had all those old guitars.
That was in Berkeley, California.
Yeah, in Berkeley, California. Remember the name of that place?
No.
It's like some guy's house, and basically his front living room would turn into just a guitar shop. It's like a pawn shop, basically, and just stacks, and they're almost like on top of each other. It's ridiculous, but it's got all these old guitars. He'll have like about 4 really nice, in good condition, like Venture model Mosrites, you know, real nice steel strings. It's just and hard to find guitars. Good price too. It's a great place. Find a Unibox there any day.
We bought a Unibox.
But I don't know. So we try to go there if we ever had the time when we're down there just to see what they have. I can't remember.
Where'd you learn to play?
Well,
Or did you?
what happened was I used to hang around with a bunch of deadbeats when I was about 17, 18, and I decided I hated them, and then I just started hanging out by myself, and I got my mom to buy me this cheap electric guitar for 40 bucks, and like an amp for 20, and I just started playing, and I learned how to play. I bought this book, like a folk guitar book, but it was an electric guitar, so I was like learning all these like chords, you know. And this guy comes over one day with an instruction box and shows me power chords, you know. And I'm like, no way, that's the hokey way to play. That's so easy. But no, that's it. That's rock and roll. Power chords. So I started grinding out power chords. Anything else? Yeah, I'll like another Bex, please. Bex. And started pounding out power chords. And then when I met Kurt is when I made the transition over to the bass, and I realized that I like playing bass a lot more, because like you can spell, the bass is spelled B-A-S-S, but you can also spell it B-A-S-E, because it's like the bass of the song, man, and it goes with the drums, and it just can keep the song going, but maybe the guitars can go off, and you know.
You like that sort of connection?
Yeah, because you can just kind of just keep the groove going. Just really, really easy. You got that bread on you?
Yeah.
How about Kurt?
Kurt's been playing for like a way long time. And he's left-handed, and he has like really weird chords. And he didn't even know how to play a D chord.
What do I owe you? $2.50.
A D chord or an E chord or nothing. He just plays some weird way.
Play with what sort of whatever stringing he learned on originally, so it's not normal, or?
Well, yeah, he gets more. He plays sounds, and like when I play guitar and bass, I'm like really, really traditional. Like I do like a lot of just like John Paul Jones type, that late '60s like.
Sort of
Scale,
blues-based scale.
Blues scale, just kind of walking. A lot like what John Paul Jones did, or a lot of the heavy bands from the late '60s did.
What, Jack Bruce,
yeah, and Geezer, all those guys. Kurt is just like really weird. If you listen to like Love Buzz, and a lot of his solos are just. I don't know. I think he was like inspired. He's kind of like a Greg Ginn with structure, though. You know what I mean? That's what I think about Kurt's playing. It's not very conventional to where my playing is really conventional. You know?
Do you try to hold some of the middle since you're only a trio?
Try to
sort of be both bass and rhythm guitar, or do you just shine off the rhythm?
I do that a lot because I like the tone on my bass. It's like a really high tone.
You play a lot of treble?
Yeah. so it kind of meshes with not a lot of treble. Yeah, it is a lot of treble. A lot of treble.
Still very thick though.
It's really thick.
A lot of thick end and a lot of high.
It's just like the EQs just goes from the bottom end cranked and goes like low, mid, and way back up to the high end. Just goes up.
Oh, that's an interesting way to set it.
Yeah, it's just kind of just one little curve.
Serious punch.
Yeah. And when you got a lot of that high end and you got that low end really thumping, it's kind of a rich sound. It's not like a warm, bassy sound. It's more like a rich sound, and it meshes with the guitars, you know. What I'm thinking about doing is like taking some of that high end off and getting some of that warm sound, you know, just so the bass doesn't mesh with the guitar as much.
So it drops down more?
Yeah, it'll drop down more, and it's not going to be any louder than it usually is, but it's going to be more distinctive. Because you get in those same frequencies with the guitars, and they're fighting each other, and, you know.
How do you feel about being labeled sort of popish?
I love it.
You like it?
Yeah. I like all
what
kinds
do you
of
think you guys sound like?
Black Sabbath meets a Knack.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
I actually like that, yeah. And I really like the fact that you managed to make a lot of noise and make it and make it riff heavy on top of that.
Yeah. But see, that's Kurt. He writes almost all the riffs, you know, and he has like an ear for melody. He's got to have melody, you know. A lot of our other, like if you ever heard our old demo tape, a lot of those were just more like riffy, rocky songs, you know. There wasn't that much. There wasn't.
First thing I heard was the cymbal.
Yeah, that was kind of melody. Love Buzz is a cover.
Yeah. That much I figured out after I'd written about it. Made a fool of myself in public.
Oh, really?
I didn't recognize it.
That's pretty traditional, what I was doing on the bass. It was so. He has like a ear. He's just really good at getting good melodies down. You know, pretty much hard writing songs because most of the riffs have been taken, right? But I think the best songs, if you like listen to like Beatles, most of their songs are like vocal songs. Just the vocal melodies just carry the song, and that's what Kurt's been doing a lot lately. It's just like,
you know, the Beatles come out of a blues tradition where the guitar is a break from the vocals, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And they're basically their early to mid stuff is real quiet.
Oh yeah.
Then they drop the brakes and they got a rhythm section rocking underneath it, and then now George just plays breaks basically, which is
what we're trying to do is have a really good vocal melody and have the bass kind of complement the vocal melody, and then have the guitar just do a riff, just kind of rock riff, and like just kind of straight ahead drums, you know, just kind of keeping it going. That's what we've been working on lately.
So you're going out with Tad, right?
Yeah.
Who's opening for who?
Tad's it's a double bill, but we're gonna be the second band. We're gonna be the last band of the night.
So is there like a local band in front of that everywhere?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm sure there will be in some places, but as far as it goes now.
I don't know the details.
Missoula, probably not, huh?
Yeah, probably not.
The good old sub pop sound. There's this band in France that was called Bloody and Heavy, and they were so excited when we showed up. This guy was hopping around. I am so excited to play with you. You don't know. He had all of Tad records. He had all our records, white vinyl records, single. He had everything. He had them sign it all. His band played
Touch Me, I'm Sick.
Yeah, they did a cover of Touch Me, I'm Sick. And they have this song called Psychotic Seattle. Like they're totally into Seattle, and you can tell by listening to their band, you know. It's weird.
I've heard that there's starting to be a lot of Sub Pop clone bands in England, and that they're pretty awful at this point.
I've heard. Gee, I mean, there's a lot of bands out there that are pretty awful. American or
Well, yeah.
English.
I mean, 90% of everything is crap.
It is. That's good. That's you know what it is? It's a damn shame too, isn't it?
Well, I sit in the Rocket offices and we got 20 or 30 records a day, and maybe one or two of them are listenable.
Yeah.
You know, and these record labels spend a lot of money to.
Sub Pop does that.
What?
We're putting out a lot of. Wait, go ahead and finish your.
Well, they spend a lot of money to put out a product that should have never been signed. There's no song. Sub Pop does that?
You know it.
Yeah, they got a great hustle going.
Yeah. No, I love them. I love them.
Yeah, but
Maybe they're getting kind of little thin. You know?
they got to diversify.
You think so?
Well,
Yeah.
they can't just play. They can't just get. You can't make a label on one kind of music.
Exactly.
And really, you know, I mean, having the walks is good for them, but they don't quite know what to do with them. You know, Mark Lanigan's record is good for them.
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Oh, it is awesome.
I really like it.
It is really good.
You know,
It grabbed me.
it actually took me about halfway through it before I decided that yeah, this was going to work. But
The first song, I was kind of going, wait a minute. But by the second song, I was decided that this is really good.
yeah.
He's going to be the Leonard Cohen of the 90s.
He actually, you know, he sounds. You ever seen John Cale play recently?
No.
And he does this thing. He like sits at the piano and he's like trying to be this songwriter with that same old voice from way back. Lanigan sounds like John Cale with something to say in a voice that can still say it. I actually, you know. Anyway, those Sub Pop, they do more of that and less of like putting out dickless singles. But
Yeah, Dickless, stuff like Afghan Wigs and stuff.
actually, you know, maybe. You know, you guys, that show I saw, the first time I saw you guys with Blood Circus, I thought they were going to go somewhere. I really thought people...
Blood Circus was?
Yeah, I really thought people were going to pick that band up and go...
Yeah,
you
but
know.
see, first time I saw Blood Circus, I thought they were really awesome, and I was drunk. And it was just like this. See, they just had the beat going, and they just had these just riffs. It's like three riff songs. But the second time I saw them, there's just nothing there. There's no edge whatsoever. You know?
Huh.
I
I don't know what you
any
mean.
edge whatsoever. It was just like AC/DC and Motorhead. There was no hooks whatsoever, or edge, or anything. It was just
Yeah, you know,
straight
I
ahead,
sort of
you know?
and it's like I still go back to I really thought 6 Foot Under was a great song,
Yeah.
and yet nothing that they did after that really quite connected. But I don't know, they're back together again. So I haven't seen them yet.
I don't know. See, and I think that's a mistake a band does. It's just like there's a big barrage of this just rock, just pow, pow. The next song, just the next song. So our band, we try to have like a grab bag, you know, kind of maybe make a record. So pretty much like how a record was. Like, you ever make a compilation tape?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Well, we have that idea to make records, just have songs, you know, like different songs, you know, maybe like a Led Zeppelin record or a Beatles record. Not that it's going to be as good as those were, but in the sense that there's this kind of song, and then after that it's like a different song, you know, different tempo, different feel.
Right.
Yeah, the next
Just a
album is
grab
going to be
bag.
a lot like that. It's going to be a lot more
Bleach was kind of like
diversified,
that,
I think.
you know?
And we work, and then like a lot of like the songs we're writing now, I think are really are like way more group effort than even say Bleach was. There's a lot of things we're all just
Big
putting in
Cheese
on
was
the songs.
Big Cheese is a total group effort. The whole band wrote that song.
Yeah.
Love Buzz
This
is
one
like
can be more like that,
song.
for sure, the next album. And it's, you know, it's going to have a whole variety of things. Like there's even a song that like me and Kurt worked on a long time ago. I played this bass riff on bass where we just 4-track recording. It's just you're playing like these bongos and stuff and started singing, you know. I don't know, we actually kind of like it, so you know, it's a possibility something we might put on the album. So it's
Cool.
just you know, kind of
Bonus track for the CD.
yeah, bonus track for the CD. It'll be the song that's like, okay, this is like the center of the album, right? It'll be the song where it's saying most songs end, it goes like that. Well, it'll be the song that if your needle player can get that far, you'll hear it.
Yeah, Mitch. Oh, God damn it.
Oh, I picked up automatic bumsy.
I have a completely manual, so I'm safe.
There you go.
Well, I got enough. You guys probably have other places you have to be.